Hey, welcome back. Oh man, I'm so glad to have you here. Today we have an amazing show. I don't ever want to hear you say, I'm bored, because there is entertainment of the highest class right here in your backyard. My name is Vin Dacquino. Our guests today are Judy Ellen and Linda Thornton. Hey, ladies.
Hello.
Man, there is nothing like Tompkins Corners. Tell us a little bit about what Tompkins Corners is all about, what you do there, and why it's such a passion. Judy, every time I'm with you, you're running back and forth. Tell us a little bit about what happens there.
Well, Tompkins Corners was started in 2014 when we formed a nonprofit organization. The Methodist Church had closed in 2011.
You took over a church.
And it took a while. It wasn't quite that quick. But we formed a nonprofit, and we worked with the Methodist Conference and a bank to get a mortgage. And we bought the property in 2015, so we're 5 years old now.
Wow. And it has such a wonderful atmosphere to it.
It's very friendly.
Yes.
I think when they were building churches back in the day, they understood how to welcome people.
That's right.
And we're still welcoming people. We've been offering programs since June of 2015, and we perform music, many concerts, theater, staged readings. You've been there.
Oh, yes.
You did your presentation
That's
about
right.
Sybil Ludington.
Patriot
And
Hero.
movies. We started showing films last season, and we're going to
really? Wow.
continue showing them
I
this.
saw an incredible show there with Paul Savior,
Yes.
who is a wonderful actor. He
Yes.
was at General Hospital for a while. He did a thing on Edgar Allan Poe.
He did. That was actually our very first theater
And that-
production.
The way it was, I mean, the setting, one-man show, it was wonderful, wonderful.
And he'll be back. He's
Oh, good.
going to be back on March 28th with other stellar actors from
Wow.
the region, reading their favorite stories from literature, from Shakespeare to James Joyce to James Thurber, and Paul will be there. And
Yeah, it's
we're
such an
looking
amazing
forward
variety.
to
And
it.
music, too. You have music groups, you
Yes,
have
we do.
poetry, you have authors. I mean, there's no limit.
No, well, we hope there's no limit.
Yeah.
We're having, let's see, coming up, we have an art exhibit. We just started a visual arts program last year.
Visual arts.
And we're having artists show their work. And we're having a concert we always have a St. Patrick's Day concert.
Oh, that's a
So
good
this
thing.
year we have Brian Conway and Brendan Dolan on the 14th of March.
And this is a music group.
Yes, right. Two Irish musicians, and so we're looking forward to that. And then on March 21st, Jim Dale, who lives nearby, will be telling the stories of his life. He's had a long life, and he's been in show business, but he has other stories too. So that'll be a great evening for theater lovers. And music, it just goes on and on and on. Maybe Linda can talk a little bit about the music.
Oh, Linda.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're always looking for great local acts and great international acts to play with us. We try to hit many different genres. We're careful not to pigeonhole ourselves.
Yeah.
So we have indeed an Irish concert every St. Patrick's Day and a few others during the year, but we also have old-time music.
Wow.
We have singer-songwriters. And last year we had Andis Manta doing a program of Andean music, and we're always looking.
And we have Cajun jams every few months where the Cajun musicians and the dancers come. And it's,
So the operation is run by a board.
yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the board of directors started when a group of friends and neighbors got together after the church closed and tried to figure out a way of keeping it going
Yeah.
the way the church had opened its doors to community events. David Amram, who used to live right down
I
the street,
remember.
used to perform there. He
What a
called
musician.
it the Tompkins Corners Stadium. And so he still comes back and performs for us. He's going to be 90 this year, so that'll be...
I remember when one of my greatest memories is I live right near Sycamore Park. And I was on my back deck, and I'm listening to this wonderful music. And I'm like, where in the world is that coming from? And he was at the park playing at one of the concerts. So I ran over there right away to see where it was coming from. And it was David.
Oh, yes,
and
David with his two penny whistles and his,
so good.
Yeah.
I mean, he is truly a professional.
We're so fortunate to have so many
Oh, yeah.
professionals like that get involved with us. I think at the opening of our farmers market last year, because a farmers market runs all the way.
Yeah,
through
tell me a
summer.
little bit more about that. When are the farmers markets?
they're every Friday,
Every Friday.
starting at the end of June and going until Labor Day weekend.
And these are local farmers?
Pretty much, and crafts people.
Oh, okay.
And we have
In the
Del
hours?
Jones, who 3 to 6:30
3 to 6:30 on Fridays.
on Fridays in the summer.
And then there are often musicians who drop by and play during those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Those
so for-
musicians, all you have to do
Yeah.
is put a stage up and they're there.
Right.
Oh, they don't even need a stage. You just put chairs up and they show up and they play, and it's really great.
We were very lucky last year at the opening to have both David Amram and John, of course, the great John Cohen, sit down and play together along with just local musicians. They just
So you
drop
really
by
never
and
know
play.
who's going to show up.
You never know. You
That's a
never
good
know.
thing.
Yeah,
No,
it's
so
great.
We're very lucky.
So, the whole operation is a nonprofit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're a 501c3.
Wow.
And yes, and so all contributions, if I
Yep.
might mention,
Yeah, yep,
are
yep.
tax deductible, and we're always
And they
because
help
it's a
support
volunteer. It's
the
a volunteer
programs.
run
Yeah.
organization, so we need volunteer. Linda started out as a volunteer in hospital. Actually, I met Linda in choir. We're both in Cat Guthrie's Dream Choir, and Linda expressed
and
an
you
interest
should be
in.
in choir because you don't have enough to do.
Yeah, well, it's fun. It's yeah, we just
Judy,
sing.
every time I see you, you're on the run.
So we were singing together, and then Linda wanted to come and help us out at Tompkins Corners, and suddenly she became the queen of hospitality
Oh,
with
nice.
desserts and coffee.
Yeah.
So
we
That's
put
a
out
nice
quite a
touch.
spread.
we do,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah,
really
it's
do.
a nice touch.
But I started out just volunteering for hospitality. Right then I became the queen of hospitality.
And then she joined the board.
Wow.
And well, first I joined the programming committee.
that's right.
The program
wow.
committee.
Tell
and
me
then
about the
board.
programming committee. Now, where do you get your hints on who
Well,
do you,
it turns out, John Cohen told us at the very beginning, he said, people are going to get in touch with us and they're going to want to play here.
Yeah.
And we were just starting. We didn't know anybody. John was the one who knew all the musicians who came to play.
connections make connections?
Exactly. And what's happened is he was actually right. Now we are being approached by people we don't even know.
Tell me about it.
saying,
Yeah.
We started off with one show here.
Mm-hmm.
We're now in our 270-something show. And guests bring guests.
Right.
And I was scrambling at the very beginning for guests, and now I'm trying to fit them all in.
You can't keep them
yeah.
right.
No,
Yeah,
that's
which is a
right.
good thing.
So the job of our program committee is to look at all these people who reach out to us and are interested in performing, look at their websites, look at their videos, see if we think they're a good fit for Tompkins Corners,
Yeah.
and then the program committee decides.
Well, I
who
imagine
we'll
that's
book.
important. If you had the group KISS decide they wanted to play, it probably wouldn't happen because they'd blow the walls
Yeah,
down.
the neighbors would probably call
I
them.
wouldn't be happy about that.
Yeah, it makes
But,
it a little
you know,
hard. Now, describe the best way you can how to get to you.
Oh,
Now, you're
that's easy.
right on Peekskill Hollow Road.
Right on Peekskill Hollow Road, a mile from the Taconic.
Okay, oh, that's
And,
easy.
yeah.
So you get off the Peekskill Hollow Road
Exit if you're coming from the north. If you're coming from the south, you can get off the Bryant Pond exit
okay.
and
Yep.
go down the
And
hill
then
and turn right
go right
past
up.
the
Yep.
camp.
and then right again at the cemetery.
Right.
When you come down,
Oh.
when you come down Bryant Hill.
Well, yeah, you come
Yeah.
down Bryan Hill.
Oh, yes.
Then you're on
Take a right.
Peekskill Hollow. You make a right at the
Yes,
cemetery.
right.
And then you continue for about
A mile.
a mile.
Just a mile.
Just a mile. Perfect.
Yeah, it's very
and you're
easy
right
to
there
get
on
to.
the left, and it's a little church. It's hard to miss.
It's historic.
Yeah.
It's on the historic register of both New York State and the federal. So and we got a grant to preserve you know, to find out what needs work. So part of what we do is preserve the building.
Yeah.
And and it takes quite a bit. You would be well, maybe you wouldn't be surprised. I think any homeowner would not be surprised what it takes to keep up the building.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
I'm
if their home was built in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Although they knew how to build things in those days.
Yeah, they sure
so
did.
They
They
last.
sure did. What is the average length of a program? Hour and a half?
two. No,
about,
it's
about 2.5 hours. We
about 2.5
We
hours.
generally
Yeah.
say 7:30 to 10. By the time the show
Yeah.
gets rolling,
I know a lecture is a little less.
well, the lectures are less, the talks, but the evening programs, the music programs,
Right.
and the play readings, we do usually a 45-minute set, and then we have an intermission. And actually, I think a lot of the people come to Tompkins Corners for the intermission
Yeah.
because of the
I hear
food and
the
the
homemade
drink
cookies
and
and-
the socializing.
yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
It's very, yeah, it's a very good thing to be doing. For
it
the
really is a
community, I
place
think.
for people to come together,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and that's what we love about the intermissions, but that's what we love about our
and
mission.
So
is
many
just-
people are like, you know, what are we going to do? I mean,
Really?
It's real entertainment. I mean, and it's a little known secret. It should be a big known secret.
Yeah.
Because there's always something going on. And you don't limit yourself to Saturday nights, right?
No, as a matter of fact, this coming Friday is going to be our first program of the year.
Oh, so
We try for Saturday nights because people have the weekend, they have Sunday to, you
Yeah.
know, get ready for work the next day. But yes, we have movies on Friday nights
Oh, wow.
and concerts and readings on
what
Saturday
kind of
nights.
movies?
Well, we had last year, we had several movies. One of our neighbors is Timothy Greenfield Sanders, who has been a photographer and a filmmaker for years. And last year, we presented a film about models through the ages as they aged.
Oh, wow.
And the super models
Oh.
get growing older.
Like
This-
Victoria's Secret models? Or?
No, sorry.
No, some of the real classic
But he would like to
models.
come back and show the Toni Morrison film, which was the last one that he did, and which has been very, very.
So these aren't just run-of-the-mill films. These
no,
are
they're pretty.
selected carefully.
Yeah, pretty
Oh, very
much.
carefully,
Pretty much.
yeah.
And we Jim Brown is another local filmmaker, and hopefully we'll have one of his films.
Great.
And yeah, we try to get them from all over. And
Wow.
We actually had at an amazing event last year. We had Alicia Spiegels, who's a world-renowned klezmer player. In fact, she was one of the founders of the Klezmatics, and she and her partner Donald Sosin, who is a pianist, put together music to go with this old film called The Ancient Law. So we had the old film playing while they stood on the side and played. So that was a combination of music and theater movie, which was really quite an amazing thing.
so you really never know what you're
No, you never know. Yeah, I know. I'm always amazed when I look. Every once in a while, I look you up just to see what you're doing, and I'm always amazed.
We have, at the end of March, the Roaring Brook Garden Club is coming back this year for the third time, and this year their program is going to be about raptors in our backyard. For the first year, they had a program about bears, and the next year it was trails of Putnam County and historic.
Wow.
So, yeah, we welcome pretty much everybody
Yeah,
who wants
yeah.
to share
Yeah.
what
so,
they do.
So let that be a lesson to all of you out there. This today is not only about what they're showing, but what they can show you. So if you have
Absolutely.
something to bring to them, by all means, go on to their website, which is
www.tompkinscorners.org.
there it is, right on the screen. www.tompkinscorners.org.
And they can send us an email, which is info@tompkinscorners.org, and propose something.
Yeah.
And we'll look at
Yeah.
it, the program.
Especially
committee.
like new groups or a folk singer. We've had some great
Oh, yes.
folk
Let me
singers.
say something about younger people.
Yeah.
Because we are pretty much retired and have the time to put Tompkins Corners together, we are mature. And we're looking
So
For
you're
people
not, you
who-
told me you were 34. You're
yeah,
not 34?
well, no, not this year. I was 34.
Oh, you were.
when I told you.
That's right, I
but,
remember.
But we are looking for younger people, and we want to know what younger
Yeah.
people want to
Yeah.
see and do there. That's a really
Younger people who
Yeah,
want
young-
to be heard. You're looking for a stage. You're looking for an
right.
opportunity
That's
to have people see you.
Right.
Here it is.
Here it is.
Here's your opportunity, especially. I mean, I can see, I have had the wonderful opportunity of meeting some wonderful singers in this area, male and female, who would be great for you.
Great.
So take the opportunity. Here's your chance. You're looking for a form? Here it is.
Here we
Right.
are.
Well, we would also like young people to think about coming to us to see
To
shows
help out, too.
because they don't think twice about going into Brooklyn or into the city to see music, and yet we're right here. So
Yep.
we really want to draw
Yep.
them in that way, and definitely as volunteers.
And I don't want to get in trouble for this, but a trip to New York City is a little tough these days. You know.
Right. And expensive,
Expensive. A
Right.
place to park. Oh, excuse me.
where you can stay home
Yeah,
and see
go
the
here.
best.
Yeah, for
right
a
here in
small
the backyard.
donation, you go over there and you watch class acts.
Right.
And in fact, we have quite a connection with the Jalopy Theater in Brooklyn, which is a connection that came through John Cohen. But they often bring performers up to us to perform. So
Wow.
there you have Brooklyn performers coming out to Putnam Valley, to Tompkins Cultural Center.
And again, you're not limited to Fridays, Saturdays. I mean, you have programs on Mondays and Tuesdays.
I think Linda started the storytelling series this
Okay.
year, and I
What
believe
days are
we
they?
have
Well, let me talk about that
Yeah.
for a minute.
Yeah.
Good.
I applied for a Putnam Arts Council grant and received it to initiate a storytelling series for families this year. Those will be on Saturday afternoons.
Oh,
We just
afternoons.
feel like we haven't reached out to families with young children enough. So
Right.
we really want to bring those
Great
in,
idea.
which goes along with bringing the younger generations in. But they will start on April 18th, I believe it is, with Jonathan Kruk doing
Wow, oh, Jonathan's so great.
Hudson Valley's own, doing a brand new show. It'll be the first time that he'll do from book to box office. It's fairy tales to film with musical accompaniment. So that will be very interesting. But there will be five family storytelling events in that series.
And then
What-
we have a school group coming in.
Yes, I was going to mention that before. We're also available, our space is available. So we have Ben Franklin Elementary School from Shrub Oak coming in for an afternoon. They're going to take a field trip to Tompkins Corners, and that will also be a Jonathan Kruk performance.
Yeah, it's funny, but I was doing a program with Jonathan Kruk, and I said, Jonathan, I'm starting a new show, and it's really people and their passions. He said, oh!
Yes,
I said, "You're on, John.
exactly,
You're on."
exactly. Jonathan comes every year
He's
and does a
wonderful.
Christmas carol.
Oh,
it's
he's
our
great.
last show before we close for the
Yeah.
winter.
And he does a wonderful thing
And,
at Sleepy
oh,
Hollow.
wonderful.
He's
Right,
wonderful.
right. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did that a couple of years ago.
yeah,
and,
he's really a master storyteller.
absolutely, and we're lucky to have him.
Yes, yes. So Saturday afternoons, and what about during the week? Is there anything during the week? Usually
the
not.
school group.
Not generally not, except for that. As part of the new visual arts component,
Right.
we're now also offering some art classes.
Oh, that's right. There
those-
are classes.
There are
Right,
classes
watercolor
also.
classes.
Wow.
With Ann
And there-
Johan, who is a well-known Hudson Valley painter. So she's running classes on Tuesdays. We have
Okay,
two
so
series.
Tuesdays are art classes.
series are-
I knew there were things
Yeah,
going on during
yeah.
the week.
Yeah.
Wow, so you're busy.
We're busy.
You're busy.
Yes, we
And the
are.
board
Very busy.
meets at least like once a month?
Yeah,
Yep.
once a month.
And then you sit down, and is that where you start talking about possible acts, or the program committee actually does that?
program.
And I imagine they have a moment to talk to the board about possibilities. Then
Right.
the board decides. Does the board vote on?
No,
or-
really the programming committee decides.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But the board handles the larger issues, the historic preservation, the building, just everything that
The
needs to be
mortgage.
done to,
yes,
yes, the
finances
there you go.
oversees everything.
I hear
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's,
So there has to be income, because again, you are a nonprofit.
Right.
But there's so many wonderful things. Talk to me about some of the other things. Now, you mentioned some of the things that are coming up very, very quickly. And all we need to do is go online,
Absolutely.
and we'll find all these things that are coming up.
Exactly. Right.
What are some of those things that you've put on in the past where you said yes?
Besides you,
Besides me.
well, we've had many music
Famous
concerts.
Irish author?
The famous Irish author.
Malachi McCourt.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Malachi McCourt.
Malachi's been there twice
Is
actually.
that
He
right?
came last
Oh,
fall.
I even got to see his brother in person.
Oh,
In, I think it was Philadelphia. But both of the McCourts, I was listening to Ashes.
Angela's
Angela's
Ashes.
Right.
I used to work an hour away. So when I would drive down in the morning, I would listen to these books on tape. And the McCords kept me so busy because I used to love that accent that they, they had, and the stories are just wonderful. So you do have authors.
We have authors. We have an annual Pete Seeger Festival.
Oh,
which
yeah.
this year is going to be on Pete's 101st birthday, Sunday, May 3rd.
So another Pete Seeger story. I had my grandchildren with me, and we went up to the Riverfront Festival in Peekskill. Peekskill? Yeah. And they wanted to wander off on their own. I said, all right. And they did. And I lost them
Uh-oh.
because there were so many people around. And then I saw this big crowd and a commotion going on. So I went over to see what was happening, and there they were. And my grandson comes to me and he says, Pop, you got to hear this old man. There's this old guy singing. He is so good. Come here. Who was it? It was Pete Seeger.
Great.
Yeah, it was right. In those years where people were singing the songs with him.
Oh,
and
sure.
Both kids were so totally engrossed. And I said, yes. So I videoed them
Oh, great.
singing along with him. And it was like a classic.
Oh,
And they
perfect.
had no idea, what an incredible entertainer this was that
Oh,
they
yeah.
were with. And what a great opportunity it was.
Great.
So, you have a lot of other things. You have things down the line that you're thinking about? What are some of those things that
see.
are on the schedule?
For this year,
Yeah. Things that we should definitely keep our eye out for.
Well, you should definitely keep your eye out for the storytelling series. There
Yeah.
will be 5
Sounds
of
good.
those.
Now, when you say storyteller series, there's going to be storytellers there.
So
Plus, do people who tell stories come? I mean,
oh,
is it-
well,
Well-
we did have last fall, we had a storytelling program. Marsha Waldman of Mayapack
yes, sure, I know Marsha.
put together an evening of people.
A couple of our writers from the Mahopac Writers
There you
Group
go. They
were in
came
there.
and they told-
Vic Moore, and Nick. I'll think of it.
Yeah.
They participated. Yeah.
Yeah, people
great.
love stories. People
Oh, yeah,
just
they do.
love
Oh, yeah,
sitting there and
yeah.
listening to
I
stories.
was a member for a very short time of the Putnam Storyteller. Putnam, I think we were called Putnam County Storytellers. We had our little shirts, and I had just moved into the area, and it was 2 incredible people, Angel Meyer, Rudy, and Arlene, and they were part of this Putnam Storytellers, and they would go different places at different festivals and perform. And it was wonderful because the art of storytelling just needs to be brought back here.
It's been going on since
years,
they
yeah.
figured out how to build fires.
That's right, I
And
hear
sit
you.
around them.
That's right,
And tell
caveman
stories.
stories.
Yeah, great, great.
And Shakespeare, of course.
one of the reasons that I decided to go after the family storytelling is that children are so used to seeing stories on TV. They're used to
Yes.
seeing Disney films, but I want them to experience
Yep.
real life storytelling. So when I speak of storytelling, it would not be so much involving the children in storytelling, but presenting them with storytellers. We also have Lou Del Bianco coming up from Portchester,
wow.
who does a wonderful job, and we're going to have Arm of the Sea again,
Right.
I believe, which is a puppetry,
Puppets,
which will also
giant
be for
puppets
families.
and-
So,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
and
I have
a few
some bad
others.
news for you. We're about in our last minute here.
Oh, okay.
So anything that we need to know, come
Yes.
to the place. It's right on
Yes.
Peekskill Hollow Road. We're your neighbors. Come and see wonderful entertainment. Don't ever, ever tell me you're bored, because there's just so many wonderful things to do right here in Putnam County.
Right.
That's right.
And we'd also like you to know that we're always looking for volunteers. We're a completely volunteer-driven. So we like to have people who bake for us, people who will work hospitality,
Build
help us
sets
park. No,
Well, we don't have
do
any
too
sets,
much
actually.
of that.
No
But there are
sets.
lots of volunteer opportunities. So
Good.
please come see a show, reach out to us, and become involved. And we look
Join the
forward to
family.
seeing you. Yes, join the
Well,
family.
we cannot thank you enough for being here. Please make good use of your time. Go see wonderful class entertainment. You don't have to go all the way down to New York City to do it. We're bringing it to you. So take advantage of it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the show. Thank you for being one-on-one with Judy and Linda. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep giving us the culture we deserve. Thank you. Thank you for being part of the show today. Thank you for joining us.